I've got one more. We've got to be corrected here, Brian. Before we go any further, we got to be corrected.
Yeah, someone saved the show.
Travis wrote in, "Hi guys. You gave me a hell of a laugh on your commentary about Sika mouthing not guilty to the jury at Vince's trial. Remember we were talking about Sika unfortunately passed away a few weeks ago, and we were mentioning that story, but Travis says, since this is a story I happen to have looked into at great length, I wanted to add a few fun tidbits in case you weren't aware. The accused intimidator was Afa. It was Afa, not Sika. We do apologize."
Which makes more sense because Afa also lived in Pennsylvania. Sika, yeah. I don't think, was on this coast.
Well, he might have this coast. Yes, he was.
Was he in Florida or was he in?
No, he's in Florida. He's lived in Pensacola for years and years and years.
I was thinking San Francisco.
Yes, that's the same coast. It's just the other end of the coast.
That's right.
But anyway, the person who reported it in court was a guy named Dory DeQuattro, who purported himself to be a journalist, but was actually a swing musician in New York City.
Huh. Sounds like wrestling.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, they cross over from music to journalism. But if basically he was a John Arezzi type of opportunist who was the leader of one of the groups trying to ride the Fed's coattails in taking down Vince under the guise of cleaning up wrestling. Like Arezzi, he seems to have been a mark doing the bidding of bitter, whether justly or unjustly, wrestlers.
I don't know anything about this guy. I mean, it's interesting because I don't even recognize the name at all.
Well, it's Dory, D-O-R-E, DeQuattro.
DeQuattro.
No relation to Susie Quattro.
Can.
Well, you do and you'll clean it up. So the judge actually put DeQuattro on the record in the case. DeQuattro got very uncomfortable and changed the story a bit to Afa and his friend were mouthing not guilty to each other. The judge asked the jury, and specifically the individual juror who DeQuattro pinpointed, and none of them had any clue what he was talking about. So I'm guessing it never happened, although the story is incredible either way. So now we have another viewpoint on this.
Who was Afa's friend?
Well,
he's just in the middle of the case. He's just turning to him. Yeah, not guilty.
I'm thinking there was probably a contingent because the Anawahi family, there was a number of them living in eastern Pennsylvania, and I'm sure they went in solidarity. So there were probably a lot of members of the family there, and many of them don't look as imposing as Afa does, but and probably some of the kids, and who knows, maybe they made a day of it. I'm not sure. There could have been a picnic.
When Vince was going to fire Fatu and Afa showed up with Fatu and a couple of his other family members,
that was Rosie and Jamal and whatever names that morphed into. That was their first trip up there.
Yeah, that was around the time they became the Samoan Gangsta Party in ECW.
Yes.
But do you think that was the conversation? Like, look, you know what I did in court. What the fuck? You can't fire anyone ever from my family.
No, I think it was more that Afa was like, your father, he was so good to me and my brother. And I know these guys, that type of thing. And Vince had a sympathetic streak for the talent that had meant something to his father. So you could always do something with that.
All right.
But anyway, so there you have that, Brian. But and there's always a new kind of character popping up on television, sometimes popping out on television. Brian, you've heard me mention many times before that anybody that comes out of a box is over, right?
I've heard you say that. That's correct.
That's an old wrestling rule of thumb. It's been passed down from generation. I think the first person to say that was probably Joe Stecker in 1917.
Oh, give me a break.
Anybody that comes out of a box is over.
Well, he said it about Clara Mortensen.
And that's exactly, he said something about her box being over. But anyway, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, I'm changing it today because actually he was saying it was awesome. And that's what now anybody that comes out of a box is awesome. And anything that comes out of a box is awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a box of awesome. And you can get it in your mailbox. See, the box of mail and the box of awesome in the mailbox. See, it all ties together. They've proven my point. Our friends over at Bespoke Post and their all new premium lineup of box of awesome collections. And we have been mentioning the incredible set of knives and sharpening tools and oils and things in the custom-made wooden boxes that I've just received. Brian got the same thing. Usually he's the one that gets all the knives and I get all the cooking stuff. But in this case, our worlds collided. But all you got to do is go to boxofawesome.com and take the quiz. And then you will tell them what you are interested in, the genres and categories and items and fun things. And in every month, they will send you whether a standard box or a premium box, it's up to you. And all these items come from the dear old mom and pop stores that are the backbone of our democracy. And Brian, you know that democracy ain't got much bone left. Osteoporosis is set in. So get these things while the world is still turning and you still have money to spend. Go right now to boxofawesome.com and enter the code JCE at checkout. You're going to get 15% off your very first box, and that could be who knows how much, because it depends on what you get, and every box you get is already at a 30% or more discount or thereabouts or in that neighborhood across a plethora of products because they're already giving you money off and then you save more. They're coming now on lawnmowers up my front yard.
I don't hear anything.
You don't hear that.
It's in your head. No one's here. No one hears it. No one hears it.
You're lying now trying to get back because they were right under my goddamn window. They're riding lawnmowers trying to get these boxes of awesome, and you can too. Brian, tell them again. You didn't tell them to begin with. I did, but you tell them again how they can go to Box of Awesome.
You can go to Box of Awesome. Boxofawesome.com, promo code JCE. Is that right? That's right.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
That's right.
You can be right too with a Box of Awesome. It'll show up at your door. It'll be awesome. Unfortunately, the knife will be inside the box likely, so you can't use it to cut into it, but you'll rip open that box.
Thing, because whoever's in the box will use the knife to cut themselves out, and they'll pop out, and they'll be over.
There'll be no one in your box. There'll be no one over.
Well, it depends on how they ask when they come out of their box as to whether they get in your box or not.
That's wrong. Get over with yourself. Get yourself the Box of Awesome today. What's that promo code?
Wait a minute. What are you telling people to get over themselves for?
I'm not saying get over yourselves. Get over with yourself. Be impressed with something you did and something that arrived and something you'll be able to do all sorts of wild and wacky things out in nature or inside, away from nature with Box of Awesome. There's a promo code. Jim, what is it?
JCE. And you know what? You don't have to get this stuff for yourself. You could get over with somebody else and send them an awesome Box of Awesome. See? Okay. So again, that's charity, Brian, something you know nothing about. You're against the whole concept.
That's not true.
Send somebody else a boxofawesome.com code JCE. And when somebody pops out of their box and it surprises the shit out of them, they'll be over with them too.
And for every 5 boxes you send someone else or other people, we will say your name within the last 3 seconds of something at some point.
But how would we know?
I don't know. Box of Awesome.
See, we need to workshop that.
Yeah, this show has really gone downhill today.
Well, I'm glad it's mine.